Yeah, thank you, Penny, for having us here as well. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you about Carer Gateway and the different types of support that we can offer today. Um, Before we get started, I'm just going to do the acknowledgement of country. So the Benevolent Society acknowledges the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and their continuing connection to land, sea and community, and we pay our respects to elders past and present. So first we're going to look at carers and who carers are, but I feel like I'm talking to the converted because you already are carers. But for Carer Gateway purposes, a carer is anybody that provides care and support on a regular basis to somebody who has a disability or a mental health illness, or as it says here, a life-limiting health condition or a medical condition, a drug or alcohol-related condition, or to somebody who's frail and older. The good thing about Carer Gateway is that, like Bronwyn said, it's actually so easy to register for and be eligible for. We're open to carers of any age. The person you care for can be any age. It's not only for citizens and residents, but it's also for refugees and people on a visa. You don't have to live with the person that you're caring for. You can be, but you don't have to be. And the person you care for can be in supported living or in residential care, and you would still be eligible to register for Carer Gateway if you're providing some sort of care and support on a regular basis to them. As Bronwyn mentioned too, you don't have to be on a carer payment or carer allowance to be eligible to register with our program either. There's no means testing or income testing involved, and it's quite separate from the My Aged Care system and NDIS as well. The My Aged Care and NDIS are for the person with the health condition or needs, and Carer Gateway is a dedicated service just for you as carers. So with registering for Carer Gateway, there's a number of different ways that you can do that. You can ring the 1-800 number that's on the brochures that I've handed out earlier. We do also have a referral form that can be completed and emailed back into us, or on our Benevolent Society Carer Gateway webpage, we do have an online registration option as well. So what I'm going to be talking about today is the different types of support that we've got available for carers. So some services are through the National Carer Gateway website, and some are through our local service provider, of which Benevolent Society is one. So Carer Gateway is a national service, and wherever you ring from, that 1-800 number, it will take you through to your nearest Carer Gateway service provider. So Benevolent Society's got the contract for Carer Gateway through most of metropolitan Sydney, and other organisations run it in other parts of the country. But the same supports that I'm talking about today are the same supports that each Carer Gateway service provider is expected to provide. So first up, we'll talk about the website services. So there's a phone counselling service through the website. So your carers can access up to 6 sessions of phone counselling through that website service. That one, the phone counselling is run by Catholic Care throughout Australia for that phone counselling service. It's quite separate to our other counselling that we provide as a service provider. That phone counselling service can also be accessed by ringing the 1-800 422 737 number and pressing option 2. You can get through to them that way. The other thing that's available through the website is this online peer support community forum. And it's a place where, like, it's a portal where carers can come and connect with each other and ask questions of each other and get support from each other, and to learn information about different aspects of the caring role. And it's a way to connect with carers right across Australia. So yeah, you get a great variety of support and knowledge of carers who are at various stages through that caring journey. The other thing that's available through the website is the online self-guided coaching and carer skill courses. And there are different modules in each of those courses that are really designed to help support carers to understand, the information and skills that are required to be a carer and be confident in feeling supported as a carer as well. So it's got different modules that are common to any carer that they should know about or could benefit from knowing about. So things like time management, stress management, legal matters, and like Bron was talking about, the importance of self-care is also a module. So different modules that you can get information about to help support you in your caring role. With those courses, you can pick and choose which modules you do out of them. You don't have to do all of them. And, if you don't have time to finish a particular module, you can pick up where you left off. I'm going to go through now in a little bit more detail about what we can provide as a local service provider for carers. We're going to start with emergency respite. So emergency respite is a service that's designed to support carers when something unexpected, unplanned happens to you, where you need to go and get care and treatment for yourself, but you may not have anybody else available to look after the person that you care for. So Carer Gateway can provide that person to look after your loved one to allow you to go and get that emergency care and treatment for yourself. Just to give you an example of this, I had a carer who had a heart attack and obviously needs to go to hospital straight away to get that care and treatment. And we were able to put in support for her loved one for the time that she was in hospital to replace what she would ordinarily have done for that person. The person she cared for did have aged care services in place as well. And those aged care services still continued to come during that time. But our care workers or support workers were there to pick up what the carer would have ordinarily done for that person in that time that she was in hospital for that week. Obviously, if there's family available to provide support in those emergencies, that's probably preferred because the person that you're caring for will be more familiar with them. But if you don't have that extended network of support, we're there as that backup. We do have a person on call after hours as well, in case an emergency does happen outside of our normal business hours, because we know that emergencies don't just happen during business hours. So yeah, there will be somebody available on weekends, public holidays and of an evening to take calls to help deal with managing that emergency respite, and organising that care worker. With the emergency respite service, we do ask for a contribution towards the service of $10 an hour. But if you're not able to afford that, we can look to reduce or waiver it. We don't want financial burden to be the reason why people don't access the service. There's no limit to the number of times you can access emergency respite. If you have 3 emergencies happen during the year, then you can call us to get that emergency respite support. We just mainly need to make sure that it is an emergency situation and not more of a planned situation. Are there any questions about emergency respite before we move on to the next section? Yes.
An emergency, having a heart attack, run at hospital. Who's going to ring? Who has to have the authority to ring you?
Yeah, we do accept calls from other family members, particularly if you're already registered, and they can explain the situation and we can act on that. Occasionally we do have family members ring where the carer is not already registered with us. And we say that if the carer would have ordinarily given permission for that to happen, then we can look to register them. Otherwise, if that family member is the one that's taking over that care for a period of time or helping to organise things on behalf of the carer, we can look to register that family member for that period of time as well. Yes.
Two, actually. One is the person that's in Northwest New South Wales, and she's wondering if the emergency respite is available at there.
Yes, it is. It's available right across Australia.
And the other one, I think you kind of touched on it, is asking about So can Care Gateway ever provide unplanned emergency support? If not, the only option is hospital.
Yeah, so later I'll be talking about our tailored support packages, which does provide for planned respite. So if it's not a genuine emergency and it is more of a planned situation, we can use that tailored support package to provide that planned respite.
But you cover unplanned, I mean, a heart attack is fairly
A heart attack would be considered an emergency because the carer needs to go to hospital straight away to get that treatment. Yeah, so definitely that. Then generally it is because something physical's happened to the carer. You know, they might have broken a bone or become unwell suddenly. But it does extend to situations where the carer is under such extreme stress that they're ready to walk out the door. And we consider that an emergency because the person they care for will be vulnerable if left unattended to. So extreme stress is also considered an emergency if you're at that point. So the next service that we can provide is called tailored support packages. So both packages are designed to give carers more say and control over the support that they're receiving. So there's two types of packages depending on what your need is at the time. So the first package is more of an educational and training package, and it's designed to potentially provide you with an electronic device or pay for a training course that's going to help you with your caring role or to help you to get employment if that's what you're looking to do. So in terms of training courses, it might be that you want to do a first aid course or a mental health first aid course, or maybe a course that's going to help you to get employment. So those sort of courses could be covered by that package of care. The other thing that package allows for is that we can pay for driving lessons, and we can also pay for carers under 25, we can pay for tutoring lessons for them because we know that particularly with young carers, their education can often be impacted by being a carer, and we want to help them to maintain those educational standards. So this package is a once in a lifetime package. So once you use it once, you can't use it again. So you just need to be very mindful of how and when you use the package to make sure that you get the most benefit out of it. With the second package, it's a practical support package. So it's a 12-month package where we've got funds available in that package to use to pay for a care worker or support worker to look after the person that you care for, to allow you to have some time back for yourself, to focus on your own health and well-being. And you're using that today, you said. Yeah, and that's just one example of using it. And some people prefer to use it on a regular basis over that 12 months. Others prefer to use it more ad hoc when they've got something on that they want to do. But it can be, you know, give you time to do some of those self-care activities that Bronwyn talked about earlier. Or it can give you that time to go and see the doctors, you know, that you've been putting off going to see, or to, you know, just go and catch up with friends for lunch. We've had families use it to, you know, allow them to go to a wedding, a family wedding as well. And they've used it in that way. So, you know, there's different ways that it can help to support you to have that time back for yourself to focus on your own health and well-being. With these packages, again, there is a small cost involved. So, you know, there is potentially up to 10% of the cost of the package or what you use of that package that you would need to pay. So, for example, with the practical support package, if you used $2,000 worth of service, we would ask for a contribution of $200. But again, if you can't afford that, then we can look to reduce or waiver it. We don't want that financial burden to be an impact on you accessing that package. Are there any? Oh, sorry. The other thing I should tell you about with the practical support package is that it can be used to pay for the basic daily fee for respite in the aged care home. So currently the basic daily fee is about $65 a day, and it's the main fee that the aged care homes will ask you to pay for that respite in the aged care home. So we're able to use that package to pay for that basic daily fee. There may be other small charges that the aged care facility asks you to pay, but they generally aren't a lot apart from the basic daily fee. So, it's nice to know that that basic daily fee, which is that main fee, is taken care of through using that package. So with that practical support package, it can be used for supports at home or to pay for that basic daily fee for residential respite, or a combination of the two. Are there any questions about the tailored support package? Yeah.
There's a Zoom question.
Yes.
Says, I was told by a Care Gateway some years ago that there was a maximum of 42 hours a year of emergency support. Is this still the case?
So with emergency support, the emergency respite, there's not a limit on that. It's really to match what the carer ordinarily would have been doing for that person during that emergency period. With the practical support package here, there's a limit of how much money there is per package. Previously, we were able to provide 42 hours of support for that package, but because of the increased costs in paying the care workers, because their wages have gone up, we're now looking at about 35 to 36 hours. But that's provided you're using it in that sort of Monday to Friday from about 7 in the morning till 6 at night time frame. If you're using that package weekends, public holidays, after hours, we have to pay the care workers more. So obviously the number of hours then will shrink.
I was supposed to be till the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I've got 2 weeks late, 2 weeks earlier it will stop.
Yeah, that's right. So obviously if you're using it out sort of those normal hours, that you will get less hours available. Yeah. So, it's something that you need to be mindful of as well. But the idea of these packages is to put in some support, particularly to help you to, have a little bit of a breather, but then to also look at getting some long-term supports in place, because we are meant to be more of a short-term service. So our staff will work with you to encourage you to, get my aged care services or NDIS in place, because they're really the supports that are going to provide that long-term assistance. So the next service that we provide is called peer support. So peer support's a way of bringing carers together to support each other, to learn from each other, to share experiences with each other, and to have that safe space to be able to talk with people who understand what you're going through. Bronwyn mentioned before, that not everybody in your circle of friends or family are going to really understand what that caring role involves and the toll that it takes on you. But peer support is that place where you can connect with other carers who do understand what you're going through. So it's a great part of the service, and probably one of the most popular parts of the service as well, because of the different things that we get to do through peer support. You can see some of the pictures on the screen. Just shows some of the different outings and activities that we've put on for carers. We've got high tea at Parliament House. We've done cooking sessions. One of my favourites, the cupcake therapy days, where they make little cupcakes and ice them and decorate them really nice, and then sit around afterwards and eat some and have a cuppa and get to take some home. But yeah, they're my favourites. There's also art therapy sessions, yoga and meditation, sailing on the harbour that we've done. I'm sorry for those people in the northwest of New South Wales, you're not going to be able to get to do that. But there will be other supports locally and other activities locally to other people who aren't in the Sydney area that are also part of peer support. But as I said, it's really about sort of decreasing that carer stress and strain and being amongst other people who really understand what you're going through, and helping you to build skills and knowledge and resilience to help with that caring role. So apart from the outings and the outings and activities that are provided, we also do a lot of online information sessions and health and wellbeing sessions for carers. We have peer support groups as well. Some groups are face-to-face and some are online. Some are during the day, some are of an evening. We also have specific groups for specific cohorts of carers. So we do have a carer support group for people who are looking after somebody with dementia. We also have a men's peer support group. We've got a Chinese speaking peer support group, an Aboriginal peer support group, an LGBTQIA plus peer support group, another group for carers who are looking after somebody with autism. And if there's enough carers to form a particular new group, then we can look to do that as well. And there are some general peer support groups as well. Yeah, we've got carers who are looking after people with different diagnoses. The other thing that we offer is overnight workshops. So we run overnight workshops where we have you come along for 2 days and 1 night. We put you up in a nice hotel, we pay for all the accommodation and the meals, and we run both informational workshops, but also some fun workshops like the African drumming that you can see on the screen. So those overnight workshops are really designed to, build deeper connections with other carers. Because I guess ultimately what we're looking to do is help to connect you with other carers that you can maintain a connection with longer term. And, almost make ourselves redundant, I guess, in that regard. Yeah, so it's a great opportunity to be amongst other people who understand what you're going through. Are there any questions about peer support?
Is that a 12-month thing as
It's
well, or is that
generally the groups tend to be run over a 12-month period, and then we're hoping that the people in the group will continue to connect with each other, outside of the group. With the other information sessions, you can still, attend those, or listen to them online, for longer than 12 months. Yeah. With the overnight workshop, we do give preference to people who haven't been on an overnight workshop before, and those outings and activities, they can often go longer than 12 months too. Yeah, so generally they will have overnight workshops run through other carer gateway service providers as well. Yeah. So certainly with our service, once you register, we do have a newsletter that goes out once a month. And it has information about the sessions that are coming up for the next 2 months, so that you can start to plan ahead about, activities that you would like to be involved in.
So would you only register if you're in need of that for that 12 months? Or if you register and you don't use it, can you, does it only start when you actually have used it, or
so
from when you register you get 12 months?
So there's 2 things there. No, that's a very, very valid question. So some people do just register even if they don't need support now, just so that they've got their name on the system in case of an emergency in particular, that the details are all there. Others do register because they're wanting immediate support. So with the different services that we provide, you can, use one service, or you can use multiple services at the same time. It depends on what your need is at the time. And our service is very much needs-based. So if you've got that need for the support, then we will connect you to that part of the program.
Yeah, I don't my need for the actual, respite caring, that's what part would be. But I'm interested in the peer support. So for me, would I, register for that versus and then miss out on if I do need that down the track? Is that something that happens? Is that what would happen? Yeah,
so you could start by registering for peer support, because at the moment that's all you need. Right. But you may find that definitely. But you may find that things change down the track, and you feel that you might benefit from that tailored support package and access that.
And then every now and then I'd get a phone call saying, how you going?
Yeah.
And our services.
Yeah.
So it's only been this year that I've got that produce the services.
Right. Yeah. And that's certainly part of what happens. So after we have that initial discussion with the carer and learn about what their needs are, we will refer them internally to different parts of the service. But then every 3 to 4 months, we'll do a review with them to see, how you're going with getting the supports in place that, we talked about, or with accessing our service. Has something changed within the caring role, and do you need different type of support? So while you're with us, every 3 to 4 months, you will get that follow-up to see how things are going, to see whether you need different types of support. But at any time, you can still call us if something happens and you need that extra support.
I don't know anyone with dementia.
Mm.
Like, I don't know anyone that cares for anyone with dementia.
Right.
There's been none of it in our family. There's none, I've got divorced parents. They're all still a sharp start. I've got 4 sets of parents. They're all in their 70s. Sorry. Yeah, so for me, my sphere for dementia was nowhere. Have absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
To, other than what I've self-learnt, or got the GP, or Frontier's website. It's amazing. Yeah, so for me, I think that would be really good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess for us, you can be caring for somebody with dementia, but caring for somebody is not something we normally sort of plan to do. It's something that's tends to be thrust upon us because of that relationship we have with that person. So yeah, if anybody's in a caring role, they're very welcome to register and access any parts of the support that we offer. So we do have a counselling service as well. So I should start by saying peer support is completely free, and the counselling and coaching, which I'm going to talk about in a moment, are completely free as well. So with the counselling service, it's not just in person. We do offer it online and by phone as well. And the idea of the counselling is really to help people, carers who are experiencing low mood or depression or stress, or have a conflict within a relationship related to the caring role, to develop strategies that they can put in place to manage that situation. So it's very much the role of the counsellor to help provide those strategies and to support you to put them in place over the time that you're with us. So you can have up to 6 sessions of counselling every 12 months with Carer Gateway. As Bronwyn mentioned before, we also offer this facilitated coaching service. And yes, you can have up to 6 sessions of coaching every 12 months as well. It often works well if you start with counselling and then move on to coaching, because it gives you an extended period of time to get that support. So it's often what our carers tend to do is start with counselling and move to coaching. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can have it the other way around if you prefer. You can have them at the same time if you'd prefer. But we have noticed, though, it works better, though, if you do counselling first, then coaching. But the idea of coaching is really to help you to focus on yourself, to give you that time out to focus on yourself and what you want out of life and what your needs are. It's designed to help break down those barriers that have stopped you from achieving those goals that you've had in mind that you wanted to achieve. It can be about looking at different ways to look at things as well. And the coach's role is really to walk side by side with you, but also to hold you accountable for what you say that you're going to do. The coach really respects that you know yourself best, and you know your life and your situation best. So it's about asking appropriate questions as well that are going to probe you to think deeply about your situation, and looking at the sort of why question. The good thing about the coaching is that it doesn't need to be related to the caring role. You can come to coaching for anything that you want in your life that's going to help to support you to make those positive changes in your life. So it's free. Yeah, it's a great service. Having been a coach, I just know how much of a transformation it can make in people's lives. Incredible, actually. You'd think in 6 sessions, how is that possible? But it really makes such a difference to people. Just to give you an example, I had a carer who was looking after her husband with dementia, and she was finding that she was getting really frustrated with him, and that came out in the way that she communicated with him. And she didn't like the way she was communicating with him, and and she was expecting him to do things that he wasn't capable of doing, but she didn't recognize that. So she was getting frustrated because he wasn't doing what she wanted him to do. So it's about taking a step back and looking at, where is that frustration coming from? What's contributing to that? And for her, it was that she had to give up a number of those self-care activities that she was previously doing because of the caring role. That was one of them. Secondly, was that she didn't truly understand the condition and what he was capable of and not capable of. Also, it was about looking at her communication techniques with him. And understanding what was going to work better than the communication style that she was using. And also making use of what he was still capable of doing. So it's looking at things from different angles and to try and help that particular situation. And that's just one of them. And, by the end of it, she was just in such a better place for having put in those strategies.
Are there any coaching for when we are no longer carers and our loved one has passed away? Because I believe that is a really big transition, and I think it would be nice to know a way out.
We offer that as well. So both the counselling and coaching are available for up to 6 months after the death of the person that you're caring for, so that you can have that bereavement counselling and then move on to that coaching so that it can help you to start putting the pieces back together of your life to make sure you're still having a meaningful life and filling that void that was the caring role in a purposeful way. So, yeah, very much so, we can offer that for up to 6 months after the death of the person you're caring. Yeah, really important time for carers to have that support. Any questions about coaching service? Any other questions at all?
So is it on your webpage where you run them?
So coaching is done over the phone or online, or if you'd like it face-to-face, so we can organise a place to do it face-to-face. Yep. We'll move on to the young carers then quickly. So we do offer support for young carers. I find young carers are often the ones that are forgotten about in families who are providing care. But it's really important to acknowledge that young people also provide support. It may not be in the same way that the primary carer provides support. It might tend to be more that emotional or social support that they're providing. But it's really important for them to get support as well. It has an impact on them in a lot of different ways. And we offer that specialised service for the young carers as well. The young carers we consider to be under 25, and young carers are able to access all of the same supports that we spoke about before. We just tailor it more to their age group. So on the screen, you can see some of the lovely peer support activities that the young carers get to do. They've done go-karting, iFly, bushwalking in the Blue Mountains. We run lots of different cooking sessions for them as well. They've done climbing of the Harbour Bridge. They've been to Luna Park, to Raging Waters Wet Water Park. Lots of fun activities that young carers of that age should be able to do. And again, it's a safe space for them. They often find that they can't talk to their friends from school about their caring role. So it's a great place for them to be able to feel safe to talk about what's going on for them and get that support. Yeah. But we also run other courses for the young carers as well. So we've run things like barista courses and RSA RCG courses to help them to get employment. We've run life skill courses like car maintenance courses as well for them. And we're very much guided by what the young carers would like to do and trying to help support them in the way that they're wanting and do the activities that they're wanting to do. Yeah, this is like a little MasterChef session with the young carers, and yeah, we had special aprons made up for them and their little hats. Looking very professional there. But we also do information sessions about the carer bursaries that are available. Carer bursaries are run through Carers New South Wales, and they offer them once a year, and it's a support package to help young carers with their educational costs. So we do an information session for them and help them to apply for that as well. Any other questions about the Young Carer Program?
Is that all available on your website to read?
Yes, absolutely. And so what I just want to run through quickly is what the journey looks like when you register with us, just to give you an idea of what to expect. So firstly, you can register with us, as I said, through ringing the 1-800 number, or if you're in the Sydney catchment area, then you can go onto that Benevolent Society Carer Gateway page and do an online registration. A lot of different organisations who operate Carer Gateway will also have paper referral forms that you could access as well if you need to. But once that intake and registration process is complete, one of our staff, called a client support partner here in Sydney, will have a conversation with you to understand what your caring role involves, but also to understand what your need for support is. Because, as I said before, we want to direct that support according to what your need is at the time. You know, and those needs may change over time, and that's why we do those reviews as well. So once we do that initial conversation with you, we'll look to set up some goals and actions to help support you to get that support in place that you're wanting. And so we make those internal referrals to different parts of the program from our point of view, but often with those actions, there's also actions that the carer needs to do. And generally they're about getting those long-term supports in place. Yeah. And as I said, the review is what we do every 3 to 4 months to make sure that you're still going okay, to check on how you're doing with those goals and actions, and to see if anything's changed in that time. When we have that initial discussion and when we do the reviews with the carer, we use what's called the Carer Star tool. And it's got 7 different points of different areas of the carer's life, which we know are the most often impacted by being a carer. Okay, so we will focus the discussions around those areas. And you can tell us as much or as little as you want in each of those areas. It's really about us helping to understand your situation and that need for support. We do also get carers, as you can see on here, there's a 1 to 5 in each of those points. We do get carers to rate on the scale of 1 to 5, not how they think they're doing as a carer, because we're definitely not about making judgments about carers. It's about where you feel in terms of getting support and feeling supported. We obviously want carers to get to a 5 in each of those areas if we can, because that way we know that they're feeling well supported. If carers are scoring 1 or 2, it's like a real concern for us and gives us an indication of that's where they need support. Okay, and we ask the carers to rate because they know themselves best, they know their situation best, they know how they're feeling. So this is what the scale of 1 to 5 looks like. So it is very much about where you feel in that journey of getting support in each of those areas. Second last thing I'd like to focus on is the emergency care plan. I cannot stress this enough for carers. The importance of this is incredible. An emergency care plan is a place where you can put all the information about the person that you care for, so that it's all together in one place. In case something unexpected happens to you, it means that whoever's providing that backup support to the person that you care for, all that information will be there for them. So they'll know what to do, when to do, how to do it. If you'd like a copy of the emergency care plan, we do have them in the information packs here at the front, but they're also downloadable from the National Carer Gateway website. So the idea is that you're putting in, as it says here, you know, emergency contact details, information about medical conditions, medications, you know, how to take them, when to take them, you know, do you take them in a special way? A place where you can put all the contacts about, like who the doctor is, who the pharmacist is, who the, there is stuff about finances as well. but also like formal services that you've got coming in and who the contact person is for that formal service, but also information about the daily routine of that person that you're caring for. And if they've got, challenging behaviours, what trigger those behaviours and what helps to settle them? Because that's really important information for whoever's providing that backup support. It comes with a card that goes in your wallet and one for them as well. So that if anything does happen out in the community unexpectedly, the emergency personnel can see in the wallet or the purse that you're a carer for somebody and who to contact as a backup, so that the person you care for is not left unattended or vulnerable, but also one for their wallet in case something happens to them in the community. And it will have a little bit of information about their medical information and who to contact in case of that emergency. The important thing is about keeping it up to date because changes do happen. So make sure you're keeping it up to date. And if you've got a nominated person who is providing sort of backup support for you, make sure that they have a copy of it as well. I also say to people, it's a great way to start a conversation with family as well about whether they will be a backup support for you in case of an emergency. The other thing I find with the emergency care plan is it's really great if you're taking the person that you care for to a hospital emergency department, because all the information's written there about their health and care needs. And it makes that communication with the emergency department staff so much easier. And same goes for, if you're going to take them to a new specialist or some other doctor, it's a great way, even a therapist, it's a great way of having that conversation and not forgetting information because it's all written down. Last week, we do have a podcast as well. It's called Carer Conversations. So one of our staff has done interviews with different service providers to help carers understand the breadth of support that's out there for themselves, but also the person they care for. And she's done a lot of interviews with carers as well to understand about other people's caring journeys and what's helped them along the way in the hope that it can help other carers. Yeah, I've actually been interviewed for the podcast, so if you want to listen to that, you're quite welcome to. That's available. But again, here's the national 1-800-422-737 number for you. Probably one of the most important numbers for you to remember or have on hand. Yeah. Are there any other? Pardon?
QR codes.
Yes, the QR codes are also in the information pack as well. So there's a QR code for the online registration in there and the QR code for the podcast as well. Yeah. So are there any other questions? Yes.
Question, can Carer Gateway assist people in receiving NDIS and going through that aged care process? Because that is a difficult process to go through if you need it. Can they assist with that process?
What we would tend to do is link you with advocacy organisations that can help you with that process. Or with the aged care side of things, there is also a service called Care Finders that is available for, people who are vulnerable, maybe speak a language other than English, who might have challenges in accessing the aged care system as well. So they can be there right from the time of registering a person with My Aged Care right through to the point of services in place, and be that support for you.
So if it's NDIS, what sort of advocacy person would that person, what sort of groups are out there as advocacy?
So I guess the main one that comes to mind is People with Disability Australia. They're a very big organisation run across Australia, and a great service to help advocate for that and to help with completing referrals and negotiating with NDIS. They would be my number one service. If it's a person from a non-English speaking background, there's also the Multicultural Disability Advocacy Association that's available as well. Yeah.
Just one other thing, you're talking about the emergency care plan. Something that Penny put my husband onto was on his watch, he has a little what do you call it?
It's like a metal plate that attaches to the watch band where the emergency ID is. You can put your emergency contact and stuff.
Because he has a speech difficulty. So if he falls over, which he might do with his condition in the road, he might come out, sound like he's drunk or something like that.
Yeah.
But because he's actually got this written on the watch band, then the emergency services and the people around him will know that straight away. No, it's not. Yeah, it's actually attached to the Apple Watch that he has.
It's got the same, but
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So if they don't wear those sort of watches, having that sort of ID, just if they're out in the community, it's even like return to, this address.
Send to sender, yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
I actually have one when I go running.
Yes, yeah, it's so important. Yeah, for the emergency services to be able to connect with you in some way. So whatever way you feel comfortable with doing that, if it's through the watch band or even through your ID, if you've got your address on the back or phone number, or or through the card, it's so important.
I say there's never anything wrong with having multiple bases covered and having a card in your wallet, and maybe also some other form is a good idea.
Yeah, definitely.
And one of the other instances along that line as well is that in New Zealand we have like pendants. So if you happen to lose your person at the airport, then security, instead of arresting them going through the X-ray machine, can see the pendant or a name badge, even like in just a normal, and then they're aware.
Yes, yes.
There's actually a couple of really good companies over here that do those. One is, and I get them mixed up, but yeah, there's one which has the sunflower. I think that's Invisible Disabilities, and then there's one called Hidden Disabilities, which links in with a background service where you can get connected with people, and they do lanyards, they do wristbands, they do all sorts of things. Absolutely worth having, particularly in the airport. So also Life 360 or Find Your iPhone or AirTags. So the number of places I've heard that carers sew AirTags into items of clothing or attach them or lace them into the shoe. And one carer was telling me she doesn't worry about how far her husband walks because she'll just watch him on the phone and then she'll go,
iPhone.
and say, did you have a good walk?
Yeah.
And bring him home.
And my friends is great for
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the AirTags. Yeah.
yeah. I think that there's more and more of those sort of things coming out, which is great to see.
Right?
Yeah.
I have that on my husband.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
As long as it's got his Apple Watch or his phone.
Yeah, he always has his phone attached to it. I don't think it leaves this.
As part of my self-care, my husband doesn't have my Life 360, so he doesn't follow me everywhere.
Actually, Scott has it, but I haven't reciprocated because he can watch me, but no.
You've got to keep some independence.
Well, yeah, if there's no more questions, I would like to thank Penny and Frontier for the opportunity to talk to you about Carer Gateway today. I think it's relevant for everybody. It might not be relevant now, but at some stage, I think it will be relevant. So yeah, please keep us in mind, and if you'd like to register, please go ahead and thank you. And if you'd like an information pack, please come grab one before you leave.
So there are any questions or there were some questions I asked some I have two at the beginning.